SBA's participation is not an endorsement of the views, opinions, products, or services of any co-sponsor or other person or entity. All SBA programs or co-sponsored programs are extended to the public on a non-discriminatory basis.
Hello, everybody. I'm Gabrielle. I'm your host for today. And today we are here for another episode of the W.O.M.E.N podcast. Today we are joined with our guest speaker, Danielle Frisby. She does all the things, especially involving youth in Baltimore. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce her and then we're going to get right into the discussion. So, Danielle Frisby is a trailblazing entrepreneur, educator, and advocate committed to transforming the way people engage with their communities. As the founder of Unboxing Change, a student led benefit corporation, Danielle has spent over a decade empowering students from pre K to college through hands on leadership, financial literacy, and entrepreneurial training. Her work spans education, public health, disaster preparedness, and economic justice, with a special focus on amplifying young voices and creating real world experiences that lead to meaningful change. Whether leading blood drive campaigns in partnership with the Red Cross, developing student incubators for emerging entrepreneurs, or creating mentorship pipelines for women in STEM, Danielle builds systems that prepare the next generation for leadership and legacy. As a recipient of the Governor's Award in 2022, her work has been recognized by civic leaders, national organizations, and most importantly, the students and families whose lives she's helped transform. So, without further ado, thank you so much for being here, Miss Danielle. We are so excited to have you on this podcast. And yeah,
Thank you, Gabby. It makes me want to be like, and thank you. Like, you know what I mean? Even more like, I don't know, but yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for always, you're the best bio reader ever. Like, that is, I mean, out of all the things I do, I'm like, no, I'll always just like ad lib it and just be like, they're great. First question. Like, so thank you for having me.
absolutely. So we're just going to get right into it. So, being the founder of Unboxing Change Incorporated, my first question for you is when you hear the phrase unboxing change, what does it mean to you in the context of working with young people?
Oh yeah. So I like that. Um, when I hear that, it's really just literally unboxing, like, you know what I mean? Where it's there is something that needs to come out, there's something that needs to come together, there's something that needs to happen. And instead of being the adult to present it to say, hey, we need to do this or we got to stop doing that, an unboxing allows everybody to like co-create their change, because something has to happen. And the cool thing about the change part is it's anything that you're able to identify that doesn't sit right with you. It doesn't mean that you're right, but it's the thing that needs to be updated, removed, added, fixed, and to have young people lead that is the coolest thing. It's really really cool because leading that looks like building upon, really not, yeah, really building upon the skills of sales, service, and hospitality. Being able to support children, pre-K through college. I'm very, very aware that these skills are already in there, even in our youngest friends. So we're talking about sales, them being able to solve a problem, no matter what it is. Um, Service, how they help others, what they see that they want to do to make their environment, their space, their home better, and hospitality. Please, thank you, excuse me. It's the best. It's the best.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. Well, that brings me to my second question, which is what barriers do you think youth today faces, starting as early as pre K and then extending through college, that you feel weren't as visible generations ago?
Mm.
And I know that's a loaded question, so definitely take some time to process that one.
Yeah. I mean, so the cool thing about my processing is I start literally from the very beginning. So the barriers that we were not able to see that are, I guess present today, really are what we can see, which is on like social media, right? So being able to have access to real time information, in my opinion, is gorgeous. It's awesome, right? You should be able to know on demand what's going on. However, if your intentions are not good or like child appropriate, that's so hard. That's so hard because our children are able to see so many things, experience so many things without having like an opportunity to process or question. One of the things that we do in early childhood education, honestly, that should continue throughout the course of anybody's learning, even down to you being an adult, is open ended questions. Closed ended questions are the yeses and the nos. Open ended questions invite room for more exploring. Like that's how we learn. So when a child is experiencing something that is in the silo of a screen, it's hard because their reasoning is only with themselves or their peers that might really be, either like-minded because they're youth, or unavailable because they saw it on like YouTube or TikTok or anything, or Instagram or something like that. And I feel like that's the biggest barrier because there's a missed opportunity for conversation and explanation from an adult that has the child's best interests in play and wanting the child to remain a child throughout the course of their development by creating that space of, hey, I'm an adult for a reason, and I want to keep you exactly where you are so you can experience everything. And when you become an adult, you're going to do that same thing for children. So that's the barrier. That's the biggest barrier. I think when we graduate into our adolescent years, it's friendship. Friendship has been removed to relationship. So we don't even talk about your friends anymore. We're talking about your relationship. Or your relationship is as a result, or is foundation, or is like founded on the fact, no, your friendship is founded on your relationships, right? So you're cool with this group, or you are cool, or you're not cool with another group because that's your man's man, or that's your girl. Like it's crazy. It's crazy. And it's like sometimes, unfortunately, these beautiful young friendships are formed out of the wrong spaces, right? Where we're going to all fight. We are all going to party together. We're all going to just crash out together. And I'm not talking about everyone, but again, I'm talking about a lot. I'm pre-K through college, so I see it every day. And it's hard. So I feel like the biggest barrier is friendship and forming healthy friendships that are absent of romance, like for real, because that should be relationship. If we're being honest, like I would love to hear about your romantic relationship, but not when you're in middle school. I don't want to hear it. I'm sorry. I'm not saying that you're not in love. I'm not saying that you can't love. I want to hear about you and your friends. I want to hear about what you guys are going to watch over the weekend. That is appropriate. Like I want to, the good stuff, the cool stuff. And that sucks that that's missing. And then finally, when I get to like my young adult, my college students, friendship and social media. Same stuff, same reasons. That's it.
That's a good one. I feel like it's so funny how you said, you don't want to hear about the middle school
I
relationship
don't.
because, now, um, our society now is a lot different than it was back then.
Correct. Correct.
The sad truth is that a lot of our society is, hypersexualized now.
Yes.
Um, and, as a result, I think that it kind of, it drifts the focus away from being a child, and indulging in your adolescent years and kind of rushing that adulting process. Um, but I think that this is also a product of um, the examples that we have out in the world, right? Whether it's somebody in our house, whether it's online. And I feel like, with what you're doing, with unboxing change, this is why programs like that are so important because it allows, the youth to have positive influences really in their lives. And this actually kind of brings me to my next question, which is um what role does play, curiosity, and representation play in helping young children see themselves as change makers?
What role does play, curiosity, and what?
Representation play. So essentially all the aspects of what it is to be um in those early
Mhm.
childhood years, being able to play freely, being
Yeah,
curious, right? Coming into yourself, and also the representation that they have around themselves and
yeah.
also in these school systems as well.
I only like first of all, say something about Gabby's questions, okay? Amazing. I cannot I don't even know how to begin to answer this question because it's a love story. It really is. Like being pre-K through college is a blessing that I didn't even know how to pray for. All I know is that when I got super serious about wanting to be missional in my life, I had to get serious about who I was created to be. And going through that time, it and continues to be something that takes my breath away. Like it's gorgeous. So I smile when you're talking about learning through play, curiosity, and representation because I'm like, yeah, yes, that's pre-K. That's literally what my week has been about, or my years, anything. It matters. Learning through play is is the way to learn completely and totally. So I have the proud pleasure, serving in the leadership team as well as project management for my pre-K client, which is Inheritance Academy. I'm happy to report, and will always say we are the largest private pre-K program in Baltimore City. When I say private, I mean private provider, because our pre-K program is free for all families that qualify. So these are families that are low income, no income, that are meeting the qualifications to have free pre-K for ages 3 and 4. With that being said, within my role, I am there to ensure that learning through play and curiosity is happening. And the way that that is done is through all of the learning centers that have to be activated in that high quality classroom environment. It matters because that's where representation actually starts to happen. If our students have spaces to learn how to create by way of science and math and social studies, and then be able to express themselves in art and dramatic play, that's how it comes together. And to see themselves in it, see each other. And then also, it goes back to the adults like myself that curate these spaces so they can see, like, it's not just pretend waffles, like it's a box of Egos. It's empty, but you can see that. It's not just your children's books. It's books, it's magazines that are present and relevant today, where you can see faces and families that look like yours. That matters. So our children, as they're learning, like I told you before, they already have the skills of sales, service, and hospitality. I'm just here to unbox that. I'm just here to build upon that. So I don't feel like I'm ever teaching the friends anything. The friends are always ready to talk. The friends always know what they want to do. And what we are called to do is help them do that in their space because they're the ones that are preparing for the next generation. The final thing I'll say in reference to representation, that's where leadership comes into play. One of my favorite projects through and through all of the different grade bands are is when I have the opportunity to establish SGAs. This year is my very first pre-K SGA solely. I've done elementary before, but pre-K SGA is not to be played with. The friends are leaders in their classrooms and in their communities. So all of that matters. All of it.
Absolutely, I love that. And I love how, you're kind of able to take what you've done with middle school and even the college students and, create a
Mhm.
pre-K level of SGA. Because I
Mhm.
know when I was in SGA,
Talk
um,
about it.
from high school to college, that was something that we didn't really have in our younger years. And,
Mhm.
it kind of goes into what you were saying before, like, we want to be heard, as children, as
Mhm.
adolescents, the misconception is that we don't understand what's going on in our world or in our lives. A lot of times people feel like our voices are invalidated, but um, I think addressing the problem early on and, just inspiring the youth while they're youth before they get to those adult years is so
Mhm.
important. The
Mhm.
saying, um, the earlier the better is so true, right?
Mhm.
And I love how, even just thinking about unboxing change, right? I mean, there is probably the possibility, if not already, for people to, you know, come into this program starting in pre-K or middle
Mhm.
school and then still working their way up in the program, all the way up until college. And
Yeah,
so
nobody leaves. Yeah, nobody leaves.
absolutely. And I
Mhm.
feel like it's a great pipeline too. I can personally say that I haven't really seen many programs that offer um, programming for such a wide range
Mhm.
of age groups.
Mhm.
So I really love that because, I feel like especially um, during that high school college transition, a lot of times there's kind of no guidance in that weird transition. And, we've all been in that transition from high school to college. It's a lot, you know,
Mhm.
um, going from being into high school and then just kind of coming into the real world overnight. And so, I love how there are just so many different moving parts of this program. And, even being able to just work with Unboxing Change with EDAC, from
Yeah.
the lives that we saved with the blood drive last year and getting the
Mhm.
high schoolers involved in that. And I
Mhm.
think there was even, like you said, there was the STEM component. So there was like the environmental science component. I mean, there's so
Mhm.
many layers to peel. Um, and I think the main thing, just thinking about Unboxing Change is at the end of the day, there's something for everybody,
Yeah.
right? Whether you're a
Fair enough.
STEM person, whether you're looking to make new friends, right?
Mhm. I
Um,
mean,
all these different moving parts, and so I really love that. Um,
thank you. I think that one other thing I'll say is that in reference to having that large span, the fact that nobody leaves is why all of the students that we engage are allowed to create their own change, right? So, what that looks like is essentially so for those of everybody who doesn't know, right? Unboxing Change is a private invitation only business. So that's number one to know, right? So all of the programs, people, projects, places are student led and student driven, and that is why we are a private organization. What I mean to that point is that the students are the ones that have well, we've been in existence for 6 years, and it started really during the pandemic with online programming, virtual programming, virtual lunch, snacks was really what kicked it off because like the kids still needed to come together. And it started with my own son, right? So it's like, all right, well, we're gonna put the kids on Zoom and they're gonna eat lunch together. It's like, before it was a thing. And it's little things like that that continue to spark and like, all right, well, let's get the kids together again and then meet needs and then let's do this and let's do that. And when students are able to I don't know, when you're able to see that they're interested and they're wanting to solve something, that's when, in my opinion, the clients and the projects come. And I'm not a person that likes to, I hate, I'm not the best marketer. And the reason why is because I'm so hyper specific, but then also anything that I would want to market, it would be a student experience. So then I can't really invite the whole community, but I can activate your school. So if you're doing something, then we should make sure everybody in your class is doing something, then everybody in your grade band is doing something, and then let's just cover the whole school. And that's where we've been successful. All of my clients are a part of 10-year plans. So we may not be doing anything right now in this like quarter or this semester, but we eventually accomplish something throughout the year. And finally, that's why nobody really leaves, and that's why I've been able to keep my business private because I'm just growing with the school. It started with one student program. It started with an after school or during school mentorship, entrepreneurship class or speaker series that turned into how do we do this consistently? Well, my background is in sales, service, and hospitality. I started my business as a wedding and event planner and for baby showers. Well, yeah, I started my business as an event planner and focused on weddings, baby showers, and funerals. So all I know how to do is coordinate calendars and events. So if we loved having, bringing the kids together to do, an event for their classroom or a community thing or, from trash pickup to planting trees, like whatever you want. I'm like, okay, well, we can put this on the calendar and then we can also make this at scale so all friends can do it. And then you just don't leave. You just don't leave. So I just get to graduate with them, but stay with the school and the students come back. And then we make sure the students still have opportunity. So if you don't work at Unboxing Change directly, you're probably working at a partner. And we love that.
We love that. Shout out to the partnerships.
Amen. Amen.
Well, this brings me to my next question, which is how can colleges and universities better unbox change to empower first generation students, underrepresented groups, and young leaders? See what I did
Yo,
there?
the questions are impeccable. Okay, wait, like how can colleges and universities better unbox change for what? What was the last part?
For first generation students, underrepresented groups, and young leaders,
Mm.
essentially everybody at a college and university.
Yeah. That's a really good question. That is actually, I'm gonna take my time and answer that, right? Because my first thought, I'm gonna say this is my first thought. My first thought was like, listen to them, which is always true. You're always gonna let student voice, student choice, period. That was the slogan for my very first elementary protest for Charm City Virtual when Baltimore City Schools was closing down the elementary and middle school virtually. We had an elementary school protest to try to keep it open, and the slogan was "Student Voice, Student Choice," and it was gorgeous. And we did win portions of the school being able to stay open, and I'm very proud of those leaders. So I'll never forget that. But with that being said, my first thought was listen to them, but there's an and in that too, right? Because of the fact we are all still learning how to live in love here, like completely and totally. And I'll say now more than ever, it looks like we've gotten it really wrong because we've heard a lot of people or not considered people as people and or taken things from people. And it's really, really hard. So how can we help, our youngest people, our youngest professionals unbox change is like, well, we have to listen to them, but then also we've got to talk about what we've been doing, what we've been saying, and we got to really talk about it, right? Like you got to really, really like, it's like, well, what's in the box? Like for real. And then also
Right,
what's
right.
missing? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Pandora's box moment.
right, like, what are we talking about? Like, you know what I mean? Because it's just now I feel like we're we've lost the plot for real. Like, and we don't even know what story is being told anymore. And it's so intense because that's everybody's response. So it's not an agenda. It's not, oh, I know. It's everybody is feeling and experiencing something at an intensity that deserves pause. So with that being said, we're going to need to like unpack that box before we unbox that box. And that's what we deserve. And if you've been here longer, if you're over the age of 25, our job is to unpack it. If you're under the age of 25, your job is to unbox it. But we cannot I can't have you unbox anything if you don't even know why it had to change. So let's talk about that. So yeah, I think it's a little bit deeper now. It's not just that student voice, not just listening to you all. You all need to require us to say more things.
Bro,
Just
bro.
saying. Yeah, just saying.
I feel like we just got a little mini therapy session there, y'all.
Yeah, amen. Hey, listen. It's just really where we are, um as students, as families. And it's the cool thing about, like I said, being able to engage in so many different spaces and now entering into citywide strategies, which is a blessing. Very excited about that. And I love being private, right? The reason why I want to be private as long as I can be in the space in which you don't always see the work that we are doing or that I am doing, but you see my clients, and that's all you need to see. So I'm happy to be in citywide strategies, especially in early childhood education. Um, you get to see so many households, the things that are there and the things that are missing, and being able to build out from communication to play spaces to how to have hard conversations about everything that is going to be like a change. You get to see that you're like, whoa, wait a minute. It's like we have a lot of cleaning up to do as a human race, like humans. So we got to talk. We have to talk, and we have to decide that we are going to do it for our young people. Like we're going to have to talk about what is no longer what is hurting us, or how we have hurt others, or how others hurt us, so we can give our children something to unbox, which is the change that we need. Do it,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean? So it's that's my prayer, that's my hope, that if we as adults can, like, hyper focus on that, that we're doing it for this next generation, we can give you guys something to unbox. Because why you all want to clean up everything that we've had? You know what I mean? Like I would love, as a millennial, I would love to be like, we ended it with us, and anybody have to clean up anything else anymore. There's no more issues. We've already done that. Millennials sealed that, and now Gen Z, here y'all come. You know what I mean? Now y'all are unboxing change. You're like, man, my generation helped us all be better friends to one another. And I'm like, wow, as opposed to cleaning up tears, broken hearts, broken souls, broken people, lost individuals. I'm gonna end that with us. It'd be nice.
I love that. And I feel like that's kind of the direction that things are going into now.
Hmm.
Like when we just think about there's a lot of young change makers out there. But I
Yeah.
think with that, that's emerging the older change makers and the older
Yeah.
philanthropists, and just that's just the older generation of people who wanted to be change
Hmm.
makers and philanthropists but didn't know where, or they had to, as you say, unbox their own trauma and
Get
you
unbox yourself.
know
Yes.
struggles and things about themselves to be
Yes.
able to then box up what they're able to provide for everybody else. So I love that analogy that you use.
Hmm.
And I feel like this isn't just the unboxing change thing, but this should be the way of life in general, right?
Amen.
um
Yeah. Yeah.
we can't really be present in our communities and all these projects that we're doing if we're not being present for ourselves. And so I feel like that's one of the biggest takeaways, especially from this conversation, being able to be honest with yourself,
Yeah.
right? Um, and I think one of the things that can also help people come into terms with that as well is just like you're putting these programs into the school systems and collaborating with different community partners, um, people who are of that older generation, who have already gone through college, um, or are out of that, right? It's putting ourselves back into these programs to help us become aware of what work still needs to be done, right?
Yeah.
Whether that's within ourselves or in
Yes.
our communities, or taking the both and combining it, right?
Yeah. But yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
because at
100%.
the end of the day, we are a product of our community, and our community is a product of us. So,
Period. Period. I will say that, it's when we're thinking about the programs, some of my favorite unboxing change programs. So people are like, what program? Like she won't tell us anything. Like, or you see old stuff, which is funny. But yeah, some of my favorite programs that we've consistently done is really around life-saving leadership. Life saving leadership is the best, and it's typically a summer experience because by design, the friends are out of school. So, life saving leadership teaches students CPR, first aid, fire safety, and how to
Okay.
have the best fun. It's
All the essentials for
mhm.
any emergency situation. I love that.
Yeah, so life-saving leadership is usually brought to us by our SGAs, right? So from elementary, middle school, that's what we do, and they work on it all year long, in reference to, of course, the events that they do for their schools, or they're doing for the community. But life-saving leadership is our Super Bowl because of the fact the friends are going to learn SGA. They're going to learn CPR, and it's so important because it's not only a student experience, it's a family experience. And because not everybody knows the Heimlich maneuver, not every family has created a fire safety map for their homes. And we need to do that. So that's one of my favorites. And then it leads into like on the, college, being able to be a bulldog in a bear cave has been gorgeous. Yeah, it has been gorgeous. We love BSU for allowing me everything and more to get me to MSU, that where I've made a home. And just, through the leadership of Omar Muhammad and Dr. Rax, which is, Miss Yvette, um, they've allowed me to do so many things. And my most proudest thing is save lives, which is the blood drive, right? That partnership with the Red Cross is crazy. Something I started, for a while, but then to be able to partner at the highest level, with Morgan's campus and have logistical assassins, aka interns that have graduated just like you, to be able to accomplish these things, save lives. So those are the type of programs that we're talking about. Um, that really are what make us what we do great and our students even better.
Absolutely. So y'all heard that, y'all. What she said is she's not only saving lives, but she's creating lifesavers.
Oh, I love it. Look at what Gabby's up.
That's the real gag.
Oh God. Yeah, amen. I love it. I love it. Mm.
Well, that brings me to our second to last question, which is if you could give one message directly to young people listening, what
Mhm.
would it be about their power to create change?
They have to understand why they were created. It starts with you first. Don't change anything until you know who you are.
So
Mm.
basically, what she said, guys, was unbox that change, unbox it,
Unbox you. You have to unbox
unbox it.
you. Yeah, because of the fact, like, oh man, it's so easy to be like, I'm gonna help this person, or I'm gonna do this over here, and then you become all work busy and business busy, and you have not even taken care of you. You don't eat, you don't sleep, you don't have friends, you don't have actually meaningful connections, but you are a superstar, and your accolades are out of this world, but you don't even like you because you don't even know you because you don't spend time with you. No. Sometimes all that we are called to do is just take care of ourselves. And that may be selfish to some people, but everybody's journey is different. I believe once you have fully tapped into who you are, and I'm not saying fixed or made yourself perfect because you could never, if once you've established that relationship with, wow, I was created with a purpose, I was created for a reason. For me, I'm like, God didn't make me because he was bored. He didn't just make me to be like, you know what I mean? Like, and they'll just make a Danielle. Like, no, there's a story. There's a purpose that he's put in my life that I'm trying to understand every single day. So, with that being said, everybody deserves that journey to understand who they are and why are you still here? Because it's not promised. And then once you discover those things, help others do the same. And however you decide to help do that with others, allow that to be something that is almost like steps or footsteps that others can walk through so they can do the same. Like, you know what I mean? Make it something where it's like a continuous thing where it's like, well, I started, figuring out who I was based off the hobbies that I have. And I'm like, I love plants. So I feel like everybody should have a plant in their life. So I decided to focus on the environment. And then that led me to be a genius. And now I've saved the world. You know what I mean? Something where it's like life giving. You know what I mean? So, but you have to be able to say that out loud. You've got to be able to, brag about yourself so others can start to do the same. And if you're the only one talking, stop. Ask them
Bro,
questions.
bro. Well, that was just like that. Just like that. That's it. Cleared. uh,
Oh, Gabby.
well, with that being said, um, that pretty much brings us to the close of our podcast. I mean, that last statement was the whole interview really was just wow, y'all. I don't know about y'all, but I'm over here like contemplating my whole life right now.
Amen.
Do I even know who I am? Like, did I unbox myself fully yet?
Did you?
Am
Yeah.
I ready to box in for change to come?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
Good.
yeah, my brain is flowing.
Mhm.
Um, so
Yeah.
for those out there who, want to learn more about the program, maybe they want the program to, be existing in their schools. How are they able to connect with you or learn more about your organization?
Okay. Well, they would start with you can find us in three places, right? You can find us in churches, you can find us in schools, and you can find us in universities. And the best thing about it is if you start there, I'm sure that we will connect. I'm sure that we will connect, right? Because to get closer to unboxing change is to get closer to what you would want to unbox, right? To get closer to like, wow, I want to be a part of that, or I think we should do that. Start, write it down. What did you hear that sparked something? What do you feel like that you could do? And I implore you to do it immediately to the thing that you're already connected to. Do not wait to get to me. Do not wait to get to us. You do not have to wait. If you're like, hey, you know what? I think we should get the kids together and maybe we decide to help them do their own, create this, or they can come together to do that, or we do this and da da da. Whatever it is, you write it down first. You need to write it down so you don't let that passion turn passive. Then you think about who you already know. Who do you already know? You're like, well, my kids in this perfect. Volunteer, go through the paperwork, become a volunteer. That's all you need to do. Because from there, I can assure you, I promise it and put it on everything, you will be able to do what you want to do, what you were called to do, because you started first. You started first. And if somebody tells you no, go to the next one. Go to the next one. And I promise you, we will connect. We'll connect. And
I
then
love
also,
that.
if you already, if you're listening to this, I'm at the Women's Business Center. There you go.
Come to the Women's Business Center. Come to
I'm
the
the
event center.
Metro.
See
Come
what
to your
we have
deck.
to offer.
Yep. That's how you find me. Tell you, man. That's how you find me.
Well, with that being said, this officially closes the first season of the Women Podcast. We are
Oh,
so
season closing
excited
her? Woo,
to have
closing
you
her.
on the last episode of the podcast. Thank you all for tuning in. The podcast will be aired soon, so make sure y'all subscribe to our Instagram page at Balt Metro WBC on Instagram, our LinkedIn page, which is Baltimore Metropolitan Women's Business Center. Yeah, so we will be updating the podcast soon. So excited to, just have you all listening to it. And thank you again, Danielle, for being a part of this initiative.
Of course, of course. And thank you everyone for listening. And just Gabby, thank you for an amazing season one. Like you did that. It's you.
Thank you. Thank
You
you.
did too.
It's been a long time coming, but we finished strong.
We did, right?
It's
Like
in
I
time
think
for the next quarter. So
I
excited to see what the next quarter has in store for us.
me too. And I guess the final thing I'll say is just like I thank you to our leadership team, like more than anything that like forced this in the most I don't know, dynamic way because so many stories, so many voices, so many things to celebrate. I'm excited for season 2.